Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Telemazing. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 view of the characters. It's a new show on Netflix right now, so I'm going to talk about it with Kristen, with Cody, with Denim, and with Alanah. So let's start off with before we even talk about the series, when I told you guys, hey, this is the show we're going to be talking about, what were your expectations going in?
I knew of the show, and I thought I knew what the premise was going to be. I thought it was going to be much more of your classic sketch comedy, like an SNL or Mad TV. But it's formatted in a very different way. I really didn't expect it.
I had no expectations. I didn't know it. I'd never heard of it. Didn't know what it was about.
The premise of the show, which is pretty much for those who have not watched it, is a sketch comedy type show. It's not live. It's a scripted type thing where an actor will play different characters, kind of like a modern day Norbit, not as horrible. But was it a premise that you guys could buy into?
I was really, when I first then heard about the show, I was really excited to see what was going to happen. I think it had great potential to be hilarious. You know, comedians getting an opportunity to portray characters in scenarios that they wanted and had created themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's so unique. It's not like the shows that were mentioned that we thought it would be like. So I think it stands on its own very uniquely, which is what I thought was really cool.
I think the thing for me was that it was just a different, character every episode, so we weren't getting used to the same plot line or the same people. It kind of gave us a fresh perspective every week or every episode.
So let's talk about the plot of the show, which is kind of, each episode is an anthology type series, and so each episode stands on its own.
The first one with Lauren Lupkus as the pop star trying to find love was my favorite out of
Yeah.
all the
Right.
three series. Like, that was the only one I found myself really laughing hysterically.
Right.
That's where it reminded me
That's funny.
most of Kroll's show.
Yeah,
there are
it
some
definitely did.
characters that you're like, oh, that's not the best one, and that's not the funniest, but I thought her character that was like
so
just
funny.
so spot on. There's so many moments that killed me.
I struggled with this show. I felt that from the first few seconds when you walk through the hallways and you see the characters that are about to be played, it was really cool. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, they're gonna be doing these different characters. It's nice. And then the minute she started, I got turned off.
I think she won me over with the pop star, but then with the crackhead in the parking lot, I was
That
like,
was my favorite.
so
Really?
That was my favorite character.
I just,
That was
I
my
don't know.
favorite
I
character.
wasn't. But the first episode was enough to make me want to watch the second episode. But it was the second and third that made me be like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna
See,
enjoy
and that's
this.
so funny. With the first episode, I was just like, I don't know what. I was almost gonna text you all and go like, I am so sorry for making you guys watch this show. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then the second episode, I go like, okay, this is a little bit more, not mainstream necessarily, but a little bit more like, okay, I can go with the plot. I really like the way they transitioned through everything, but it still was not engaging at all. Like, it still was like not great, but I like the characters that he did.
John Early was. I'm thinking about it. John Early was actually very funny to me. Like the guy giving his speech at the wedding, and then he was like, the attention wasn't on him, so then he had like a breakdown and pretended that was
How
funny.
long was I out
Right,
for?
that
You
was
weren't out.
hilarious. That to me was like,
I thought-
the star of all 3 episodes.
I thought his episode was more poignant than funny. Like, it almost felt like an indie comedy movie that I had
Yeah.
just stumbled
But I think
upon.
that's why I
and
enjoyed
kinda
it,
liked.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to talk about the characters when it's like, well, that's kind of a
Yeah.
plot. But I mean, let's go one by one. So on a scale of, let's say, 1 to 5, how would you rate that first episode with? I'm sorry, the name of the
Lauren
Lapkus.
Lauren Lapkus. What would you rate that first episode?
I'd give it a 3.
Okay.
3.5. I'd say 3.5.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
gonna say 4 because there was like a lot of characters that killed me. I think with Lauren Lapkus, you also have to like the shows that she was commentating on. Like, she was making fun of like The Bachelor and things like that, those dating shows.
Yeah.
So if you watch those, you think it's really funny because
Yeah.
it is verbatim playing a spoof on that. And also, she almost reminded me of like Summer Heights High.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did remind me of
when
that a
she
lot.
plays
Like
different
Janae.
character. Yeah, or very similar to Jonah. With her young boy, like teen that was angsty.
Yeah.
You guys have kind of convinced me a little bit more. I'm thinking of the Whitney Peeps episode. Like, okay, maybe I'm being a bit too mean. Maybe I could bump it up to a 3.
Yes.
Let's do ratings for John Early's episode.
4.
4?
Yeah, 4.
I give it a 4.
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4.
Glad. 4 across the board. Don't even need to discuss it. Henry Sobrowski's episode number 3. We'll start with Lana and
2. I just feel like the characters, the show is called The Characters, but this one it didn't feel like it had any actual characters, just tropes. Like, the naked guy that runs into the restaurant made less sense to me than like Whitney Peeps or somebody like that.
I just didn't get it. His humor was very awful.
Yeah.
It reminded me of he's trying to be too hard like Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And I was just like, his naked body just gave me nightmares.
I would say a 3. I actually, when I came over and you were still watching it, kind of picked up on some jokes that I missed. Yeah. But I thought the Jim Gaffigan joke was kind of really funny, because if you've ever been confused as a celebrity, it's really funny to see him do something mean about it back. I like.
Right. I give it a 3 solely because of the man in the street cart. For some reason, the insults he was throwing out was some of the funniest things I've ever heard, just because of, like, they're things that I would think, but then I wouldn't be brave enough to say. He was just like spurting out insults, and I thought it was hilarious. So that for me resurrected it from a 2 to a 3.
I give it a 1.
Oh, burn!
Ouch.
Sorry, Henry.
We talked about the characters. What other shows are there out there that reminds you of the characters? I know we said Kroll Show. Somebody mentioned another show.
Summer High Tide reminds me of a lot. One person playing multiple characters in the same world for some of them. I thought it has very similar things to Summer High Tide, but still uniquely its own completely.
Mm-hmm.
In a similar vein to Summer High Tide, there's less known shows. They're Australian as well, but like The Big Bite is a really good one. Angry Boys, like they're these actors playing these different characters in really like outlandish situations. Similarly, I think Inside Amy Schumer is quite similar in that she plays all these different characters in these scenarios to a less drastic extent. She's far more realistic, which is why I think I like John Early, because I think he was quite realistic in his characters.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Little Britain again, in that very kind of irreverent, let's have this one guy just like play off every character that he could possibly come up with and play off of himself. I think that works a little bit better because he has so much energy.
I mean,
that
it's
he can
2
really...
in Little Britain. It's
Oh,
Matt
you're
Lucas
right.
and David
It is Matt
Walliams.
Lucas and David Valium. So again, it does have a little more energy because it's 2 people, and I think in the characters, it runs into the problem of trying to have one person work off of themselves, and that sometimes doesn't work too well, but I definitely think it was good.
Is the show worth watching? I'm going to say no.
Watch episode 2 and just be done with it.
That's actually a really good point.
I agree.
Yeah, I
You know
agree.
what? I agree.
Watch the second episode and just pretend it's like a one-off.
Just
No
like a
other
comedy
episodes
special,
exist.
a Netflix comedy special.
Netflix comedy special. There you go.
Episode 2.
They have enough of those, but this one's 30 minutes long.
No, not at all. Sorry, that's 30 minutes wasted.
I actually said give it a watch. I think they're all uniquely their own, that you kind of should just watch the whole thing, because you might think certain ones are funnier than the other. They almost like stand out as their own show each. So I say give it a watch. You might enjoy it.
And that's it. That's going to be our review of the characters on Netflix. Make sure if you guys like what we said, make sure you like the video, help us out, and also subscribe to our channel. Telemazing does so much stuff. We have our 3 videos each week that you can check out over there. Along with that, we do a podcast every Monday, and we also have Telemazing live on Wednesdays on Periscope. So for Kristen, for Cody, for Alanah, and for Denim, I'm just Mwamba. Thank you for watching. Now go watch some TV.
Bye.